Celtics will remember that.
You wanted 50. The crowd wanted you to get 50, and I know you had a nice little conversation with Marcus Smart afterwards. No harm done, right?
No, we good. He knows I was trying to get 50. I didn't mean no harm. I should have done it, but they understand I was trying to get 50. But it was a good dub. It was a fun game. Hope y'all fans enjoyed it.
I mean, we're a little upset at worried going for that three in the last second that Bobby went off.
I mean, what kind of competitor wouldn't it bother?
A rational one. One who's chilled out. And we're off.
We're off. How great do you feel, guys, when this song comes on?
I've never heard this
feel
song
good.
before.
What are you talking about? We just played it. It's such a good one.
We did?
It's like you're riding away.
Yeah, last night.
Yeah, it's not too long ago.
Sorry.
It's a Disney
What's
World
up, everybody?
song.
Welcome into the DNBA show presented by Manscaped.
Your balls will
Thank
thank you.
There, balls will definitely thank you. Don't forget DNVR 20. You get 20% off. I'm your host, Adam Mares. I'm joined by my esteemed colleague with the hat covering the hair, Harrison Wynn.
What's going on, guys?
Living our
What's
best.
up, Harrison?
You look like a man that just got a new bike. Am I sensing this? Is that right?
He really does.
Yeah, the Peloton has arrived. It's here. It's beautiful.
Ooh, a Peloton.
It's something else.
Yeah.
It's something else.
I've always
Jawline's
said
gonna
Wynn
get even more chiseled.
needs to get himself in shape, so it's about time.
I don't know what you guys are talking about. I'm in terrible shape right now. I don't know what you're talking about.
I just like the idea he's going to be riding a bike with no wind in his hair at all. And
Yeah,
True.
I'll be riding a bike in a very a very small bedroom.
I feel like
This is
that's
what I'll
a
be
fan
doing.
up. Just the hair.
A very congested bedroom.
A man who does not own a Peloton, it's D-Line Co.
how would you? First off, how would you know?
Safe
that?
bet.
How would you know?
Safe
that?
assumption.
It's absolutely true. I don't.
Because you would buy a scooter instead of a Peloton.
Oh, that's right.
point.
Do you think that there's like a Peloton scooter where you can just stand on it for an hour and go up with your friends?
Ooh, what a workout.
And then, of course, down here, it's Brendan Vogt. I didn't have anything charming.
Down
to
here,
say. This
down
is
here.
you.
I don't have much. I can't play with that. Hey, good to be here.
But we are joined by a very special guest, friend of the show, friend of all of us, friend of you.
Friend of the world.
From The Athletic, from the host of Nerder She Wrote, as well
Yes,
as several
that's the
other
one.
shows. It's
Adam
Dave
just
DuFour.
found out about that.
Also,
Wow,
friend
what a
of
shirt.
Manscaped.
Wardrobe
Wow.
change. Dave
That is
there.
Were you shirtless behind the scenes? Were you?
Yes.
I'm glad we didn't
Yeah.
bring you in too early.
We'll ask Kale about that later.
I saw an opportunity. This is why I'm a pro.
First team all podcast. Man.
That's right.
That was a professional. Not everybody's that dedicated, but you are, and I salute you for it. Yeah, so excited to have you on, Dave. Getting into any woodworking lately?
Yeah, I love
Oh,
it.
man.
So, Adam knows we've now been podcasting together forever. My least favorite thing on podcasts is where you pretend like we didn't just spend 15 or 20 minutes talking. Like, yeah, that
And it was riveting today,
Right.
boy. Let me tell you guys.
Listen, it was a lot of good stuff, but the woodworking, it's funny, man. I really am enjoying it. I haven't done a lot of it in my life. Like I'm pretty handy and I've built stuff before, but I actually
You have
like
that look. You have the look of a woodworker. I have to say.
but for no reason. They just happen to look like me. But like I've really been enjoying it because it's one of these things where every single thing that you do, you get a result from, and it's strange
Kind of
compared.
weird.
No. Well, consider like the fields we work in, right?
Sure.
I don't get instant feedback, ever. I mean,
don't?
well,
Well, I was gonna say,
if
come on, man.
if I tweet about Devin Booker, I get
never
instant
followed
feedback.
him.
That's the only time.
Something.
And so, like, you actually get instant feedback, and it, positive or negative, but also you can fix the negative. It's been fun. It's nice.
Yeah, I get instant feedback all the time. Tons of complaints, just a list of complaints nonstop. It's like,
I mean, listen, I'm not hearing any complaints, so maybe I'm
There's,
just
I have to say, there's something nice about living in this virtual world that we've created for ourselves, and then delving into the world of the tangible, the real. Like I was working at a web company at one point in time, and the power went out, and we were like, we
What do
don't
we do?
exist anymore.
Yeah.
Right.
Do
we
Right.
don't even exist. Well, all right, that was dramatic.
It sure was.
We have a fun show today. I'm actually very excited. We're talking about the San Antonio Spurs, because we're kind of going through. I don't know if you guys have noticed, because we haven't like made this a series or whatever, but we've been going through different teams that are going to be in the Western Conference that Denver is going to be matched up against, and just talking about what's going on with those teams. So we're going to ask Dave. He's our San Antonio expert. He's going to answer all of our questions about San Antonio, what their motivation is, and everything else. And then later on, I'm very excited. Eric, as we speak, you get to watch him in real time as he works on a brand new graphic for a brand new game. I can't wait to play it. It's
Speaking of instant feedback, you want real-time feedback, Eric? You're gonna get it tonight.
I don't want. For one, I actually don't want real time feedback. I get enough of that on Twitter.
If this is anything like the online with D-line graphic, I mean, we're golden here. We're
For a
golden.
treat.
Yeah, we're all excited to see how this turns out, me included.
But before we get to that very fun game, we're also going to talk about coaches later on in the show. And then, of course, maybe somebody's going to take on the steps. We need somebody new to take on the steps. Maybe vote. You could tweet out the link, and then we could do it that way. Don't have to just be members today. We can open it up to everyone. Dave's a great helper. He's such a knowledgeable basketball mind. I'm sure he knows all about Nuggets history. But first, one of the topics today, there's like little bits of new news or new talking points going on because there's so many things that are kind of being thrown at us right now. But one of the things is just, should coaches be able to just waive their liability and say, look, I know I'm at an elevated risk for COVID-19, and should I get it, I know that I'm like more likely for it to be serious. And we have coaches, Greg Popovich is one of them, Mike D'Antoni's another, Alvin Gentry. There's some coaches that kind of fit the bill for somebody that you would say, maybe this isn't a good idea. But all of those coaches, to my knowledge, have come out and said, I want to be there. I understand the risk, but this is more, it's worth the risk to me. David, what do you make of that situation, and should coaches have the ability to say, I make my own health choices here?
So, it would be illegal for the league to discriminate that way. So
Right.
it's a moot point anyway.
Okay.
I talked to Alvin Gentry about it on the Daily Ding. And I asked him, I was like, how do you feel about it? Has the league been transparent about the process? Trying to keep everyone safe. And he said, I want to coach. He's no more at risk to catch it. It's just if he caught it, right? Listen, we all know that this is inherently unsafe, just the comeback in general, right? It's not a perfect plan. There's no such thing. So it has its risks. Anyone involved is accepting those risks. Now, do some people accept greater risks? Sure. James Harden has asthma. So does JaVale McGee. I mean, they're also accepting a risk if they show up. So I don't see any reason why these other grown-ups can't make the same decisions for themselves. If the league wanted to make a change to keep all of the coaches farther away from the players and whatever, great. But it needs to be a blanket sort of policy instead of, listen, you're
Legally,
old.
it has to be.
You're old. Well, yes, it has to be.
See,
so
I hear this
ultimately,
ageism, though.
nothing's going to happen.
I don't, because I've heard people argue this ageism of like, well, that's ageist if you're not going to let old people. Well, no, we actually know that this isn't ageism.
Sure, but
Yeah,
also,
Trying
I
to
mean,
save your life.
it's
Coronavirus
easy to
is
say.
ageist.
It's easy to say that when you're not the one being discriminated against, and even if that discrimination comes from a good place, it still is discrimination. So listen, I think that these guys can make up their minds for themselves. They're all elected to go to this crazy bubble anyway, right? So I don't get the difference between everything else they're doing and being on the court. Like, there's just no
that's the
difference.
thing for me.
It's like you can be in the bubble, but you can't be in this one spot. Like, it doesn't matter.
Right.
Yeah, that's the thing for me. And he's going to be down there. He's going to be getting tested, just like everybody else. And I don't really get what's different about him being on the court than being, behind the scenes in the bubble. But just in life, I feel like we're probably going to have to live with some risks over the next year or so, at least. Like that, 3 years? God damn it, Dave. But that's just going to be a part of life probably. And I've got to think that, he probably has a lesser chance of catching this in an Orlando bubble than he does going to the grocery store.
Right.
And that's actually it raises a good question, because we've now seen most of the details about how this is going to work, and I see so much of the timeline is, oh my God, this is insane, this is crazy, whatever. I look at it and I say, look, it's a risk. Of course it's a risk. Everything you do that goes outside of your own home is a risk. But when I look at this, I think, okay, the NBA's taking precautions. The people inside the bubble, all right, we have certain amenities for them, whatever. the workers that come in are coming in once a week and they're limited to very specific rooms that they do. I see this and I go, it's a risk. The people that are inside the bubble are probably the lowest risk people, and they've done a lot of things to make that risk of it even getting inside at least somewhat low. Am I on the outs? I know that this is a very unpopular opinion, but am I on the outs in saying I understand the risk? Just me personally, I don't think I would be concerned if I was LeBron James, for example.
I'm probably going to be the only person to say I think that not being concerned is bad. I mean, we don't know the long-term ramifications of having it. We do know about the chronic fatigue-like symptoms. We have no idea how long they last. We know about the lung damage. I mean, completely healthy young people coming away with severe asthma after surviving. And so, there's a little bit of a flippancy about what happens when someone tests positive. Like, it's just like, we know it's going to happen. Not a big deal. We just take that person, we put them over here, you're by yourself, blah, blah, blah. But it's easy to get lost in a statistic and forget that there's actually a person attached to that positive test who is going to have to deal with the potential ramifications. So, again, as long as everyone's going into it accepting and knowing that there is a chance that you're going to catch it, and that if you catch it, it has the potential to be bad and possibly deadly. I mean, it's killed children. Like,
right.
We don't know how this thing acts. It's a crazy disease. It acts like a blood disease, but it's a respiratory disease. We just don't know anything. I think the biggest thing is just arming these guys with information and allowing them to make the decision on their own. So, like, Adam, if you're comfortable, that's great. LeBron, probably comfortable. But a lot of these guys might not be. And this is why I respect Kyrie doing his job with the Players Association and actually representing the fears of the guys that he represents. I think it's a good thing.
Or at least saying, hey, we need to make sure everyone has a seat at this table, right? This is not a 1 to 99% issue here.
Exactly.
Can't be, at least.
And when you talk about it being a blood thing, we know that Brandon Ingram had blood clots. He had a very, very serious thing.
Right.
He was a guy that I haven't really heard talk about too much, but he was one that came to mind when all this, and I thought, man, I wonder if he would be concerned to sit out and maybe not participate.
Well, it's causing blood clotting, in people who have never had the issues. So what does it do, if he were to catch it? Like, this is the stuff that just isn't being talked about. They've waved the magic wand over it. I did a radio spot this morning, and they asked me, they were like, the NBA put together this 113-page thing. Seems pretty comprehensive. I'm like, yeah, but as we all know from reading stuff on the internet, long doesn't necessarily mean great.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
It is not perfect by any means, because you can't make it perfect, and so there is a risk. There are going to be positive tests. There's probably going to be, double digits positive tests. Probably. I hope there's none. It would be amazing if they could pull this off. Like, it would be fantastic. They'd set the blueprint for other sports. It'd be awesome. But man, it makes me nervous for these people.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, we talked about this on last night's show, but Dave, in your mind, is there like a threshold, like a number of initial positive tests where they step back and say, maybe we can or shouldn't do this?
No. I mean, this is why they're baking in the pre-quarantine. Because if day one, Jokic, for instance, was just at the event in Serbia, and a player there tested positive. Okay. Well, Jokic next week, I'm assuming, is going to be flying back. So let's say hopefully they tested before they fly him over. That'd be ideal. But if he flies over, he tests positive day one. Well, they've already got that built-in quarantine time. Sure. So he gets to quarantine on the front end and on the back end once he gets there. So I think that starting the process early was good for the league. And it actually allows everyone to, let's just say, recommit to quarantine, because it seemed like people have relaxed a little bit. So
totally,
you get everyone to recommit to this quarantine, and then going in, okay, we are going to have the least amount of cases that we're ever going to have, and we're starting as low as we possibly can, and hope that you catch them all on the front end, and those people hang out behind until they're cleared and then come and show up, and then you've got this nice bubble. Now, maintaining the bubble. Like, when you look at those plans, it seems more like it's a fishing net than a bubble. There's a lot
Yeah,
of
can we
holes in
just
this.
never say the word bubble again?
It's
Can
not
we
a
just
bubble.
eliminate the word
Campus
bubble
environment.
from like
You know what? The spirit of this I appreciate, but I'm not calling it a campus environment. Like the bubble, just we know what it means. It doesn't. We're not fooling anyone to say bubble.
Yeah,
it's a soft bubble. It's a funnel that's.
It's a net.
You can penetrate it.
It's a net.
Are we gonna
Okay.
all right, let's all just call it the net.
It's a net, and it just, I mean, really, it is. And so if you get 100% compliance,
It's more
and
of a sieve or a
even
strainer.
if everyone involved with the NBA complies, you still have all the Disney employees, you still have all these other people that, it's just a lot of variables. This is why 16 teams made the most sense, right? This whole the whole trying to be fair thing never made any sense. It's about being smart and being safe.
One thing I keep wondering about is if a player tests positive, let's say on July 9th, the day you're supposed to be going to Orlando, they will miss some time but then have to be back. I wonder if players wouldn't miss a little bit more time, or if they just wouldn't come back. If you tested positive and it really affected you and you lost some weight and you weren't feeling good and it was 2 weeks of hell, and then they're like, oh, okay, you're clear to go back in the bubble now. I wonder if some players are like, no, I'm not.
Listen,
I lost a lot of mass.
well, from looking at this and the way that people have recovered from it, I just can't imagine someone who isn't asymptomatic. And that's what their assumption is, that the majority of people that test positive wind up asymptomatic. Like, that's the rosy picture that they're painting. They go to isolation, no big deal, hang out, play in Madden 21 because they're getting it early.
Oh, hell yeah.
Stuff, right? Stuff like that. But I think if someone's actually sick, I don't see that person being able to come back. I mean, this is like a 3 to 6 week ordeal.
Yeah.
People losing massive amounts of weight.
But that's the thing.
not to
Even
mention
if you lose just
conditioning.
a little bit of weight, because the weight you lose when you're sick of any type is not the type you just like eat a pizza in your back.
Right.
It's important weight. Speaking of losing weight, before we go, we're going to take a break and then we'll get back to the Spurs and kind of move on to what the meat of the conversation. But speaking of losing weight, Nikola Jokic, the skinniest man in the NBA. Don't fact check that, but I think it's true. What is your take on this, Dave? Everybody has a take on Jokic's weight.
I mean, he's getting married, right?
Yeah, that's
So he's got to look good for the pictures. I mean, not even kidding. That's a real thing. I think he looks good.
I think it has nothing to do with basketball. It has everything to do with the wedding.
I kind of hope, in a weird way, I kind of hope that's true.
Maybe it's both, right? Maybe it's both, but I think it's the wedding. But I think he looks good. Everyone who thinks he looks too skinny is just I think they don't look at enough people, right?
Have they not seen
like a
any
basketball
NBA players up close and personal? This is the thing I always tell you, like the biggest crazy thing about seeing these guys up close every day is like how skinny they are. You think they're so much thicker, but you see them in person and they're freaking twigs.
And Jokic looked chubby compared to like those guys. In real life, he wasn't really, you know what I mean? He was bigger, but he wasn't like that big. Anyway.
He looks too skinny.
Well,
put it out there.
okay, but looks can be deceiving, all right?
Yeah.
But
I want those
also,
wedding pics, though. They're gonna be fine.
he's going to come back. So he's going to come back over here. He'll be with he'll have his chef. He'll have all that stuff. He will be at his ideal game weight by the time they start playing games. For the first time in his career, by the way.
No,
Not true.
You know what? Yeah, his rookie season and his sophomore season. Like, look at the picture on opening night of his second season.
But was that the weight they wanted him at? And so I'm saying they're going to be able to build him up because he's almost assuredly lower than they wanted him to get.
Maybe
They're going to be able to build him back up.
I don't know. Let's just say I don't know. We'll find out. But I do think he's going to put on weight, though. I do think that part is true. Like you always can add a little mass right before you go to start a season or whatever, and I think he'll do that as well.
A quarantine environment isn't exactly the perfect environment for keeping a super low percentage of body fat.
He also, does not to this extent, but Jokic going home for the summer, thinning out a little bit, and then bulking up at the start of the season. He likes to get bigger
that's a
as
good
the season
sign,
goes on.
right?
Right. So this isn't necessarily unusual. I swear, it's just the bomber jacket. That's why it's so crazy.
It's a nice jacket.
Man.
It's a nice jacket.
You guys are really, really, really impressed by this bomber jacket. I feel like I need to buy you guys some bomber jackets.
My God, dude, it's been green sweatsuits and Walmart video game
know, it's
shirts
so
for
true.
2
Yeah,
years.
it's so
It's a
true.
step
Do you remember when
up.
he put on that suit coat like a couple of years ago and everybody just started laughing? I felt bad for the guy. I felt bad for him.
Take us away, Harrison. Let's get a break in.
A way that Jokic could put on some pounds if he really needed to.
Beautiful.
Some Breck brews.
Oh, I think you're right.
Yeah, I think I'm right.
Are you talking about the Jokic pack?
I'm talking exactly about the Jokic pack. The 15-can sampler.
Jokic doesn't have a 6-pack or a 4-pack, Dave. He has a 15-pack. It's 1 ab across the top and then 2 rows of 7 abs
Whoa.
going. It's really impressive.
I got to tell you guys, the best abs you can have are the Hulk Hogan ab, the one giant, that impenetrable ab.
Just like slap.
Everything
abs.
is just merged into one
well,
ab.
you just look so strong, right? You need all those lines for. They're just in the way.
It's great take. Great take.
Well, yeah, pick up the 15-can sampler from Davidson's. You can get curbside pickup. You can also get delivery. Also, check out the Mile High City Copper Lager from Breck Brew.
Such a good deal. They're practically giving them away.
I love Breckenridge Brewery.
There you go, Dave.
Yeah, very good.
There you go, Dave.
Perfect.
Also, another thing that Dave likes, MSU Denver Online.
Yes.
We had a professor from MSU Denver on with us this week, Dr. Travis Heath, and I mean, I could just sit and listen to Dr. Travis Heath talk about not even Nugget stuff, but just life. So I would just pay to be in his class and have him just talk. But you can take classes. Oh, go ahead, Eric.
What school is it?
I don't know if they offer any online woodworking classes, but it's certainly worth looking into.
It certainly is.
What school is this?
MSU Denver Online. So there's
MSU?
there's a physical campus in Denver, but I'm actually even taking an MSU Denver Online class this summer. Only in our first week, so syllabus week still going well. But if you guys want to just take a class this summer or maybe in the fall, or complete your degree, maybe get a master's or a second undergraduate degree, MSU Denver Online definitely has a class and a program, and obviously the teachers to help you out. So check them out.
How do they feel about honorary degrees? I'd love one.
I know. There's 2 things I want to get before I die.
up.
I want a key to the city of Denver. I know I have to earn that.
Yeah.
Hopefully I do something
Yeah.
that earns
I know
it. And
I
want
have
an
to
honorary
earn
doctorate. I want those 2
Oh.
things. I hope I
You've
do
made
Why
it
don't you
if you
just,
get an
like-
honorary doctorate. You've made it.
And this
Why
key
don't
to
you
the
just get a
city. Are you
doctorate?
kidding? A key to the city of Denver? Come on. Somebody talk to the mayor. Look at this. Get the paperwork.
Guys, I don't know how to say. I completed the graphics. The game, whenever we decide to play, the graphics are ready.
Okay.
I did a yeoman's job. I could have done better. I don't know if a yeoman is great at graphic design, but
Yeah. Okay. Well, I can't wait to see these. These are going to be fantastic. Oh, look at the Manscaped ad in real
Just trying
life.
to,
This is
yeah.
incredible. Are you
I saw it
standing
up in the corner, and I was,
Are you standing
yeah,
for this pod? Wow.
standing desk, man.
What a wow. That's
Dave is
on.
living right now. He's living.
Standing desk.
Actually, it's a motorized adjustable desk. So I like to pod and do video standing up.
I would if I had a standing desks are absolute life changers.
Listen,
They're
this
next
is
level.
but this
You're
is
perfect.
yeah,
Adam,
in the
I got to
wrong
tell
direction.
you, but this is why my energy levels are so good because it's hard to
Yeah.
be low energy. I mean,
Because he's
it's
standing
hard for me
up.
anyway. But I'm
Can we
standing.
MJ him,
I mean,
Neil?
just-
What's going on? You have the controls. You just got to MJ Dave. This is a clear moment for you to MJ him. I have a real question. Before
I
we
mean, my lights though are not good yet.
Oh, you got Adam.
Oh, I hate when I get MJ'd. All right. So real thought I had when they were talking about like each team can have a chef and this or that. I wondered. I hope it's not the Nuggets, but I know every team treats those things a little bit differently, right? Like some teams are like all about all the bells and whistles and everything else, and some teams don't. And I wondered. I had this thought: if the Nuggets are at this arena and they're just eating chicken fingers at the little like deli stand, and other
Oh,
teams
yeah.
have like 6 yoga instructors and all this stuff, and like nope. And the Nuggets guys are like, wait a second, what are you guys doing over here? You guys have
Is the chef part of the 35 per team allotment?
I don't think so. No.
I think it can be if you want, but I don't think it's
Great
gonna
point,
be
Joseph.
for most teams.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah. I mean, I think that everyone's going to do their best. Like, let's say your team chef isn't great. I think people are going to upgrade. I think some teams are going to say, you know what? Let's bring in some heavy hitters.
I think they'll be eating fine. I mean,
Like-
Disney caters to some high-end
It's not-
clientele. It's not just 12-year-olds running around eating chicken fingers.
Yeah.
I don't even mean I was making a joke about the chicken
Sure.
fingers, guys, but I'm saying that it's just the general. If you're in one organization, some guys do this across all sports. I remember when Champ Bailey arrived in Denver. That was like the first thing he said. He's like, it's just so different. This is a first-class organization. Washington, they were like terrible. And getting here, I'm like, oh wow, this is what a real organization is like. And I just wonder if there's going to be Paul, not Paul Millsap, he's been around, but Gary Harris is down doing his workout by himself in the gym, and then like all of the Lakers are together doing their jogs and stuff like as a team, and he's just like, oh, that's what a real team does. I don't know, and I'm not saying the Nuggets aren't that. Maybe they're the example in another team. It's just making a point.
But based on the schedule that the league put out, I mean, I feel like it's going to be pretty structured when you're with your team and when you're not.
All right, so Dave, my first question. What is the Spurs' motivation for being in this? Honest question. What are they trying to get out of this?
I mean, it's not like they have a choice, right? Like they can't say, nope, we know you guys decided 22
We're
teams,
good, actually.
but we're all good.
Let's get the Warriors in here. We don't want
to. A couple of reasons, right? Like that's not in the Spurs ethos, right? Like that, there's no way. That organization's, aside from the year that they tanked for Tim Duncan, they're not into quitting.
Except in Game 7 of the first round series last year. I digress.
It's a running joke on this show.
Remember that, Dave, when they just quit? They're like, we're not going to play over.
Yeah.
1 point game.
Whatever. This team has had issues late in game with fouling. It's a thing. But, there's not much motivation, and, they don't have their best player. So, I just chalk them up for a bunch of losses probably. And, I mean, I hate to say that, but it is what it is. It's not a very good basketball team.
So you're right so you think they'll play hard, but they won't be good, which I think is fair. They do have some veterans on there, and that's why I asked. I mean, do you expect Rudy Gay's on this team, DeMar DeRozan, Marco Bellinelli, Patty Mills, Aldridge already out because of the injury.
Right.
Do you suspect that these guys? I don't know that they're going to opt out and lose the money, although all of those guys can afford to if they should they choose. Maybe not Patty Mills, I don't know, but all of them could opt out if they wanted. But do you think that maybe they roll an ankle or pull a hamstring after in training camp, and it's like
I mean,
I'd really love to go.
Okay, so if they did it, none of those guys are going to fake being hurt, and I don't think the Spurs would ever ask them to not play. I don't think the Spurs would ask them to not play in this circumstance. Yeah, because why would you bring them into the situation, right? When they could be off, starting their off season. I think if they were going to ask them to not play, they would do it now and just not take them.
Okay.
That seems more like a Spurs move. But with that being said, I mean, the guys that are out there, they're going to play. This is the NBA. There is no such thing. Those guys don't tank. Certainly, end of games, if they're getting blown out, they're not playing as hard. But no players tank, and especially not on a team like the Spurs, where they're not. They're not the Lakers. They're not the Bucks. So they've been playing hard as hell all year. They're just not very good.
I've predicted that the Spurs are going to go 0-8. That's a little tongue in cheek. I don't think they'll actually go 8.
It could be 2-6. It could be 2-6. Like they're just not very good, and they're missing their best player. And I mean, you do that to any team, right? Like, take away Jokic, and what happens to that record?
There's no point.
And we talked about this on a previous show. But if they lose, say the first 3 or 4 games, even if they go like 1-3 or 1-4, they're playing like the last guys on their bench for the last 6 games or so. It's just exhibition games for them at that point.
Dave, I've had this question for just about every guest, but relating to their teams, are there any questions the Spurs might hope to see answered in this stretch? For the Nuggets, it might be Jamal Murray. Can he be consistent? Anything to evaluate?
I don't know if the Spurs want to see this question answered, but I'd like to see it. Can you play DeJounte Murray and Derek White together some?
Yeah.
I want to answer that question.
Throw him out there with Lonnie Walker. Just go nuts with it. Let's see what happens. Play DeMar DeRozan at the 4. Right? Who cares? Let's just see what happens. And
You've already been penciled in for 0-8 by Adam, by the way.
Right. So you might as well. You're playing for nothing.
Well, we're joking about this, but what if they start 0-3? And let me read you their schedule, assuming, again, I don't know if this is how the schedule is going to go, but it's been rumored that it'll just
when are we going to hear about a firm schedule?
Yeah,
is this just it, but they don't want to release it?
We'll get it game by game from newsbreakers.
Oh, God.
Over tweet.
We can't wait for that. The Nuggets will take 3 weeks for the Nuggets' first game to be announced.
But it would be like Denver Nuggets versus, and then another tweet a few minutes later.
Well, they'll take it,
We need this. I want it. Straight out as long as possible.
That'll be
Game 1, Lakers, somebody.
And then a week. This will be testing fewer games because we actually would have time to build up hype for these games.
Oh, yeah.
We'll see if the hype is there. Yeah, I hope
you mean like 4 months like we've been doing?
Yeah, exactly. But if they do it the way that was rumored by Vince Goodwill, Yahoo, he said that, the finishing out the schedule, if that's true, San Antonio would start with Denver, Memphis, and New Orleans. Now, Denver is going to be favored in that game because they're the better team. Memphis and New Orleans, okay, you could argue they'll win it, but if they go 0-3 in those games, that means they are probably not going to catch Memphis. They're almost certainly not going to catch New Orleans. Or I'm sorry, reverse that. Almost certainly not going to catch Memphis, probably not going to catch New Orleans. If that's the case, what do they go? If they start 0-3, what do they finish, Dave?
2-6.
So it doesn't matter. They're just
it's the Spurs,
by the end,
man.
but
It's
also
the Spurs.
Think about it too. Like by the end of that 8 games, they may be playing people that don't really care, right?
Yeah.
Like,
they're there to make a point. Yeah,
you get what I'm saying?
As hard as they can. That's their chance.
Yeah,
I could see it.
It's tough, man, because I actually would say this about most teams. There are not a lot of teams that would just go there and outright quit.
Yeah. I was just gonna. I have this on my notes, and I just wanted to mention it because I was so impressed and sort of moved by the moment. But Lonnie Walker a few weeks ago announced that he had cut his hair, and he had been growing his hair all of his childhood because he had been sexually abused as a child repeatedly, and never told anyone. Kept that in, and that was the reason he did it. And he cut his hair, and he shared with the world. One, to I think help other people who've maybe kept this secret to themselves their whole lives, but then also as he put it, he needed to let go, like carrying that with him. He could feel it weighing down his life and weighing everything down. And I'll be honest, I teared up when I was reading this. Like literally was sitting there reading my phone and just like crying at my phone because one, I mean, just obviously an awful circumstance, but two, just so impressed. Like there's certain moments of bravery and just strength that you see from somebody that just will bring you to tears, and that was one of them. And I don't know if anybody else wanted to comment on that or anything. I just wanted to raise it because to kind of signal boost it because it was such an impressive sort of thing.
Yeah,
I think it's a.
Go ahead. No, you go ahead.
I was just gonna say I think it's one of those situations where we kind of see who these guys are, and in a lot of ways, these are NBA players, these super in shape guys, larger than life, who can't really be brought down by anything, and it's sometimes rare when we see real personal moments like this. I always value those, and I thought this was just one of those where we just learn more about the NBA player and Lonnie Walker, the person. And for as transparent as athletes are with social media and just in this day and age, we still don't get that as much as I think we should.
I mean, I think the young guys in this league are extremely impressive from this standpoint, right? Like they're a lot more confident in who they are, and I mean, this is another example of that. And obviously, second year in the league, not even 20, I think, or right at 20. Pretty impressive to be able to do that, especially in a public-facing manner. You know, this wasn't like he was just telling his family. Right. He is literally telling the world.
Yeah.
It's true. Yeah. And another instance in life where I've made fun of something and felt bad about it later.
His hair?
Well, hold on. Now, when I first saw he cut his hair, before I knew the backstory, I could just think of Elfrid Payton and how I expected him to become a better shooter after cutting his hair. Lonnie Walker.
I like Lonnie Walker.
He's going to be a star.
He's going
to be a star.
I want him. I want him on the Nuggets.
You heard it here first. He's going to be a star.
Take us away. When we get back, though, guys, the most fun game the internet has ever seen. Can't wait.
I'm going to do all these reads just like I'm talking to Dave. But, Dave, if you're looking for some coffee, to get delivered to your new Wichita Falls home, Strava Craft coffee, infused with CBD. If you have, like, back pain or arthritis, something bothering you, Strava Craft Coffee.
The only time I have back pain is when I'm carrying Adam on a podcast.
Or standing up during an entire podcast.
Not today, buddy.
Are you in an area, Dave, where you're able to enjoy the benefits of CBD legally?
No, I'm in Texas, where despite being the most free state, nothing is legal.
But you can get Strava Craft Coffee for 20% off online, StravaCraftCoffee.com, when you use the code DNVR20. So check that out. Also, guys, we announced this today, but we're having a watch party at the bar for the UFC fight this weekend. Our guy Curtis Blades is fighting, and you can bet on him on the DraftKings Sportsbook
On
app.
DraftKings. Wow. Perfect.
I did see he's a heavy favorite, so the odds aren't great, but I mean, he's a sure thing, I think.
I really want to drive out.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do
I
it.
don't want to fly out
You
because
can
I'm not
have
getting on
some
a plane.
CBD
For
when you get here.
Smart.
Yeah, there you go.
We'll put you at the VIP table, Dave. We'll put you at the
Although
VIP
before
table.
we assign tables, by the way, if you want to RSVP, you can purchase a booth for $150. That's 6 to 8 people with 2 pitchers of any Breck brew of your choice and an entree for everyone at the table. So you can just RSVP for free, but if you want to bring a group, go ahead and reserve that.
Yeah,
booth.
we're social distancing at the bar, guys, so you have to RSVP because we're only allowing a handful of people in. So
Yeah.
it's got to be all
I'm
separated.
really jealous of the people that get to go.
Yeah, it's going to be incredible.
Yeah.
Curtis Blades, baby.
You're jealous of us. We're going.
Yeah, for sure. So make sure to RSV for that. And also download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code DNVR when you sign up. For a limited time, all new users can get a sign-up bonus up to $1,000. That's right. DraftKings Sportsbook is going all out with a sign-up bonus for up to $1,000. Just enter the code DNVR when you sign up, only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Must be 21 or older, Colorado only. Bonus is comprised of a first deposit bonus and a first bet match, each up to $500. Deposit bonus requires a 25 times playthrough.
The fine print on
Restrictions
this
apply.
really gets me.
See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
1-800.
Boom.
All
Boom.
right, are you guys ready for
Are
the
you
Piece
ready?
de Resistance?
Let's do this.
Let's find out
time
if
to
I made
play.
a typo.
What hotel are they staying in?
Yeah.
Wow. What? It really just rolls off the tongue.
Can I just say, this is the most petty thing I've ever seen. The
It's
fact
so
is,
delicious.
Now-
That's all we
type of
wanted.
petty.
they did it by seed, and I had
so
people
sweet.
talking about this logic thing where they were like, well, it makes sense. You know, you expect him to be there longer, blah, blah, blah. I'm sorry, man, but come on. You're telling me James Harden wouldn't have gotten him in better shape if it meant an upgrade of the hotel room and played these regular season games like
Should've
they
done it.
mattered?
You should always play like there's a hotel room on the line. That's what life's all about.
That's right.
That's what pro sports are all about.
I think the NBA, they would never do this because it would be way too trashy. But they should really make reality TV out of every single thing, including picking your room. I think the Bucks should get to go to the hotel first and kind of poke around and be like, you know what?
Well,
this one I'm
did
taking
you
it.
see Robin Lopez was immediately trying to trade?
Yeah, trade hotels.
And
Yeah.
and that is how you know that the NBA and Disney got it wrong, because as we all know, there's plenty. Think about beer companies that they think this beer is their best beer, when it's really this other. That look, Robin and Brooke Lopez
know.
should have been
I
asked.
trust them.
They should have been able to set up the whole thing. They could have condensed that
Them and
113
Keith
page
Smith,
plan
just a 3-man panel.
to a 13-page plan, and it would be perfect. Every single part of it would
So
be
the
perfect.
Grand you're shattering my dreams here. The Grand Destino is not the best hotel.
So
Not according to the expert.
Come on.
The Yacht Club's where it's at.
The Grandestino is the newest hotel. That's the reason why it is first up for all the top teams. But it is on a resort called Coronado Springs Resort, which is like an old resort that's huge. It's absolutely huge. Pools, spas, gyms, all this. The tower, the Grandestino Tower, is just one little part of this bigger resort.
Harrison's dialed in.
Don't you feel like we should get some sort of sponsorship money from Walt Disney? The amount of advertising.
No. They own ESPN. They're building in their own advertising, right?
For real.
The
It's
best
funny how
hotel.
ESPN really wanted them to play the games no matter what. I wonder if we could trace that
I
back.
applaud
Oh
them.
my
Here's to you, ESPN.
That's another good point by Beeston. I did write that the Grandestino is closest. I heard it was 10 minutes away from the ESPN Wide World of Sports complex.
Sleep in an extra 30 minutes.
The Yacht Club is 15, and then the Floridian is 20 minutes away.
Super producer Kale has a take. Kale, hop in here real quick. He has a take that the Grandestino is not. It's not all that.
So the biggest deal with there's tiers of hotels at Disney, and so if Grandestino is a nice regular, it's like a Marriott basically. It's like a Marriott versus the Yacht Club and the Floridian are considered deluxe hotels. And so that's where all the Disney members and stuff go.
I'm livid.
They've got suites.
But
All
the
that
only
type of
reason
thing.
the Grandestino is not listed as in that hotel tier is because it's part of this larger Coronado Springs resort. If it was a standalone thing, it would be in that tier, I believe.
That's
so glad we're
fair.
back to basketball
Coronado
talk.
Springs
Finally.
is cool though. They've got one of the best pools in all of Disney World. So
Yeah, 123-foot water slide.
Well, Kale,
I wrote about this today.
tell everybody where they can pick up your mixtape.
nowhere. Check out DNVR social for the stuff I do there. Bye.
Nice plug. Nice.
All right, we're gonna play.
Bring
So
sleeves next
we're
time.
gonna pretend that we didn't just hear this information that we heard, and that the Grandestino is the best, and
The
that the
tip-top.
Floridian.
It is
you
the
know,
best. It is the best from a pure hotel standpoint, I
love Harrison
believe.
defending this. I love it. It actually makes me so happy.
Can
that
I
he's gonna
can I
fight
tell
for
you
it.
guys the truth?
Okay.
Are we ready for the truth? Can we
Sure,
handle it?
Dave.
The only good hotel is the one that's at Animal Kingdom because, the animals come right up to the room. That's the only good hotel.
Ah.
Wow.
The Polynesian's kind of lit, man.
Polynesian, I ate there.
Why does everyone know about Disney World? Except
Someone
I have
said
no knowledge
I was at
of
Disney.
either.
So I've got friends that are like super into Disney, and
Children.
no,
Those are children.
these are adults.
Oh, okay.
And they took us to Disney. We went to the Polynesian for the dinner. Pretty amazing. It's too much food though.
All right.
It's like a Walt Disney World of food.
There's
It
only
is
Ooh.
just a massive
Okay.
amount of
Wow.
food.
So
Okay.
so Jokic is actually in dire trouble here. is what
He's
you're
gonna
I mean-
be just like so massive after this. He lost weight for this tournament. But
not for the wedding, for the
But we're
buffet.
going to pretend Grandestino is the clear best one. We're going to
Clearly.
pretend that the Floridian is, in the middle. We're going to pretend that the Yacht Club is like, the worst thing on earth. Because I choose to believe that's what happened here. And I choose to believe that the Blazers are in the Yacht Club because they're losers and they do not deserve to be in the real hotels.
They earned that yacht.
So I'm going to ask you I'm going to ask you some random things, and you're going to tell me what hotel they belong in. Okay?
This everyone.
Number one, Skinny Jokic.
Well, the
That's-
Polynesian.
Yeah. I get it.
What is the Polynesian?
Skinny Jokic belongs at the Grandestino.
He's in the Grandestino.
Unbelievable.
Great Bambino.
Grandestino.
The Grandestino.
He is in the Grandestino. He is.
All right. Well, you've ruined the game, Dave. So we're just, I hate you now. No. All right. Number two, and you can expound on this if you choose. The city of San Antonio.
Oh.
The city.
The city.
Yeah.
As
Oh,
a city,
God.
Where would
is
the
that-
city,
is that,
where would the
where is
municipality
it?
stay?
Ooh. I mean, it's the Floridian. It's
Okay.
very similar.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. It's,
Yeah.
it's middle.
Very
it's
similar.
Mid. It's mid.
It's got a lot of really good stuff and then a lot of really awful stuff.
Okay.
Right? So
Sounds very Floridian.
very in the middle.
I was in San Antonio briefly. Didn't seem like there was a lot going on, but I didn't know what I was looking for. West Texas is like
Is that it?
West Texas is like. Hopefully, there's a Bible in the hotel drawer, so I have something
San
to do.
Antonio, South Texas.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's
I would
right.
call South.
Yeah,
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 South.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
whatever.
you're
Yeah, it's South Texas.
All right. Michael Porter Jr.'s performance in the bubble tournament.
Floridian, probably.
Hold on. Dave?
I think Yacht Club.
Oh!
Yeah.
Oh, no.
No!
This is killing me.
I think Yacht Club. Sorry. Come on, man. You can't trust young guys in the playoffs. Come on. I hope I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Michael Porter Jr. is going to go off in the second matchup against the Spurs when the Spurs are just out of it.
He's going to be the Grandestino for sure. In all seriousness, though, I agree. He'll probably be at the Yacht Club because he probably won't play. He'll probably
Right.
he'll actually literally be at the Yacht Club during the
Yeah.
game. Like,
Malik Beasley will play as many minutes.
oh, this is so sad.
Damn.
This is so sad. Texas barbecue.
Man, this is an awful question for me. So first of all, as you know, I make my own barbecue, right? So I'm very, very picky.
What don't you do?
I didn't know that, Dave, but I did guess. I did.
Very,
assume.
very
Yes,
picky.
that actually, yeah.
All right, very, very
You're
picky.
real
I got to tell you, I have been very unimpressed. So the Texas barbecue, and I'm assuming you mean like the brisket. It's always
There's a lot of
it's-
things that
it's
fall
just
under
so
garbage.
dry.
All right, I'll be right back. You guys let me know.
They just dry it out. They're not. No, they're not at the Yacht Club. They're at the Motel 6 that's right outside the gate.
Unbelievable.
Texas barbecue is no good. I don't like it. It has no flavor.
Wow.
Has
Dude,
no
just because you
flavor.
don't like something doesn't mean you can break the parameters of the game.
No, I have
You
a
got
really
three
good
choices.
palate.
Who has the best? What region has the best barbecue?
I mean, so for pulled pork,
Dave's house.
I think North Carolina, with the
Okay.
vinegar sauce and coleslaw, that's the move. I don't like the Kansas City style, the sweet. Not into that. Memphis is good with a dry rub. Those are really good. The Memphis ribs are probably the best.
Yeah, I'm a big
like,
dry
ribs
rub
you can
guy.
get. Yeah,
Big dry rub guy.
All right.
but
Well, that-
not Texas though.
a lot of meat on these bones of these.
Wow.
I wasn't
Wow.
expecting
Wow.
this. Oh, I didn't mean to make a pun there, but I guess I did. All right, Klay Thompson's 2020-2021 season.
2020.
Next season.
Next season.
Yeah, Klay Thompson next season.
So 18 months off, right?
Yeah.
ACL guys, normally in
Sure.
that second season, that's when they start looking more like themselves. Think about the age. You know, he's going to be 30, not 28. But with that being said, come on. It's not like Klay Thompson doesn't take care of himself and his body. What's the best hotel? Grand Destino?
Grand Destino.
Yeah.
He's a Grand Destino. Wow.
Unbelievable.
And, you know,
He's going to be laying out at the lost city of the Cibola pool at the Grand Destino.
Hanging out with Adams.
throw that contract out the window, right? Like it's just money to that team. It doesn't really matter. He's going to put up 20, 22 a game doing Klay Thompson stuff. I do worry about the defense taking a step back because, you know, lateral movement with the ACL surgery. But we'll see. I mean, I'm much more worried about the knee that hasn't had surgery than the knee that did.
Yeah. Vote. Did you put out a step? Tweet out the steps.
I did that already,
Oh, you
bro.
already did that. You're
I
already
don't
on
know.
top
It
of
doesn't appear it's already fruit, but
Okay.
I
well,
did
there
tweet
you
it
go.
out.
John Wall's next season.
Floridian.
Okay. That's
Floridian.
okay. He'll be all right.
A lot of time off, you know, and he's going to maybe lose a step, but he's still going to be just as smart on the basketball court as he's always been.
Yeah.
Bradley Beal is a better player now, so, you know, that'll help
Well, he'll
raise
be
the
gone,
ship too.
so- You think
Will he?
he'll still be around, huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
I think the idea is he signed the extension, give it a try for half a season with John, and then be able to ask for a trade at the trade deadline.
Wow, half a season. He's really committed.
I mean, you'll know, right? If John Wall coming back from Achilles surgery is going to take longer than a year, like, you know, that's a thing.
Yeah. He'll know.
What do you guys? I meant to ask you about Klay Thompson, but just vote. What do you think about Klay Thompson next year? I mean, it'll be so much.
I would have
time
said
off.
more Floridian. Yeah, just because there's so much time off.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think he's going to be bad, but I'm always like on the more cynical, doubtful side when it comes to
You are that
when
way.
it comes
Just
to
about
guys.
life.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up in New Jersey.
You know,
just
there-
angry and
I mean, Klay,
mad
you
all
know,
the time.
he never plays well in Milwaukee, so we'll have to see how he adjusts. But you know, there's a lot of questions to be answered. So
there is some case to be made that guys coming back from ACL perform worse than guys coming back from Achilles tears.
Oh wow.
So
Really?
yeah,
Wow.
it's
Wow.
not like a lot of people think that Achilles is just awful. The ACL is not great either, and even though they come back and they look more athletic sometimes, the results aren't always there. You know,
I'll tell you, John Wall though, he seems like a guy that he almost seems like he played in a different NBA. Like, he's
Doesn't it
almost
feel like that?
It does feel like it's almost
Yeah.
like he's Gilbert Arenas, whereas so
Yeah,
long
dude.
ago.
I know,
Yeah,
man.
remember.
and
It's-
it's insane.
Yeah, he was
'cause-
playing with like Chris Humphries. It feels like.
because it doesn't feel that way with like
The
KD.
line of demarcation.
You know what I mean? I don't have the same feeling for guys that
Yeah.
have been out almost as long.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. But also when you think about his style of play, and I doubt the jump shot's been able to improve. The mid range is still there, which, you know, that's a thing that he has. But is he going to get to the basket like he used to? Probably not. You know, if I'm guessing, probably not. But you know, maybe playing with Davis Bertans, the best shooter he will have ever played with.
Arguably the best shooter ever.
I mean, if you ask
He
him,
bombs, man.
you ask him, he'd say yes. Well, the thing is, he's also a unique shooter. Like, John Wall's only played with spot-up guys. So he's going to have to adjust a little bit to Davis because Davis likes to come off screens. Davis likes to walk into threes. Like, that's going to be an interesting dynamic. And it's funny to talk about Davis Bertans as being like this, you know, very important part for a team that might make the playoffs next year. But really, like, it's going to be fascinating to watch what John Wall does with a shooter of that caliber, because John Wall is one of the smartest damn players in the whole league.
That playmaking, it's easy to forget now, but it's through the freaking roof. There's no doubt
he got
about
guys
that.
paid. He got guys paid big time, and all they had to do was hang out in the corner. Like, he can do a lot of stuff that people gave Rondo credit for doing for way too long. John Wall, like, up to the the passes that he throws are incredible.
Here. I can't believe it. Rondo was incredible. You're right that it fell off, but Rondo was incredible.
No, he
for
was.
Like 4 years.
But it was the people giving him credit for that for the next 10. That's the problem, right?
That is true.
I'm saying John Wall was doing that stuff while people were still talking about Rondo doing it.
Can you imagine if you just kept getting credit for things you did a decade ago?
I mean, listen, I'm a
so
Yankees
incredible.
guy. I love Derek Jeter, but Derek Jeter winning Gold Gloves, right?
Yeah, okay.
Just because.
Okay.
John Wall is maybe more than any guy in the league. He's making point guard level decisions at top speed. 10 out of 10, body
John Wall
flying
used to be
under
one
the
of my
bat.
favorite players. He really did. I love it. He was so fun to watch.
He was arguably
like
the fastest player in the league with the ball in his hands for like a 5-year stretch.
It was him or Westbrook.
Yeah.
And now Ja is just incredibly fast.
Ja.
There's a lot of really fast dudes in the league right now. Like,
And plus, he's like really high on the jerk index, which is I always appreciate.
John Wall? Like he plays like
John Wall.
jerk.
He's like really high on the jerk index.
Yeah, I like that. All right, the Last Dance documentary.
Oh,
Yacht Club.
A man after my own heart. A man after my own
love
heart.
it. I knew
Listen.
that's why I put it on here. I knew you were gonna have a take.
so,
Yacht Club. Yeah, man.
Oh, come on.
I just don't care. Like, there was nothing new, which, fine. Not everyone knows.
What do you mean there was
hear me out.
nothing
Hold on.
new?
Hear me out. Let me finish. Until the last couple episodes. The thing that was cool about it was actually seeing the guys interviewed. I wish they had been able to do a group interview. That would have been fun. Mainly just watching those guys interact, right? Does Scottie Pippen just keep eating shit, or does he finally take a swing on Jordan, right? But the documentary itself, it's like, okay, listen. It was a Michael Jordan documentary, which is great. Michael Jordan controlled it. He got to lie about some stuff. I just, it was not very good.
Here's the thing about the Last Dance documentary is it enthralled the nation. The nation was enthralled. It was hanging on every.
The nation was at home.
A captive audience.
The nation has been at home for the biking documentary, for the Bruce Lee documentary, for any number of things that have come up and not captured the attention.
That Mark
Hang on,
McGuire, Sammy
hang on
Sosa
1 second.
documentary sucked. So.
If I can just push back, okay. Have you looked at what the ratings were for The Last Dance?
6 million.
Yeah, it peaked at 6 million.
Yeah, that's the same
So
thing
it's-
as like being the most popular thing in the world now. It's so fractured. There's
That's true
nothing gets any
nowadays.
kind of
Nothing gets over that.
I don't know about it, but I mean, they were thrilled
And
with
culturally-
that. 6 million. Well, culturally, sure, but also remember that like we all kind of live on Twitter to a certain degree for stuff like that. I didn't really talk in real life to anybody about it. It was all basketball.
Really?
That's a great take,
You didn't-
Dave.
So
You didn't talk to your
while
woodworking
like
guys
in our
about the Last
silos
Dance?
for entertainment, man. It really
Right.
is wild.
we talk about the echo chamber politically, but you do that like I mean, look at NBA Twitter, right? Like that is, there's funny stuff happening in other sports that I don't see for like days.
Right.
Somebody says something dumb, with Tom Brady usually.
It's true.
I don't hear about it for a couple
Yeah,
days.
yeah.
I haven't heard about the NHL's restart plan once, and that was announced.
All I heard
ago.
was that they had one.
Yeah.
I knew about the Premier League coming back, right? But I didn't know they came back today.
I didn't
until
either. Yeah,
today,
that was
or
a nice
yesterday.
surprise.
Yeah.
Well, this is the last one. Nobody for the steps today, unfortunate. We're going to keep just rolling the steps by until we get some.
Can we just keep rolling on this Grand Destino Floridian Yacht Club
This is
game?
just no. He's just.
throw one out. If you
You're
want
just.
to throw one out, you can do it.
You guys are just loving me finally giving hard takes on stuff instead of like, well,
No,
let me
I love
couch
it.
this.
I love the.
We were until you slandered the Last
Now
Dance.
let's hit him with that. Now let's hit him with that one question he told him we can't ask him before the show. I think we're ready.
Yeah, for real. No, this one is actually kind of tough, and this is a little more serious, I guess. The 2021 NBA draft, not this year, next year's draft. And the reason I ask this, I'm not asking about like the quality. Oh, I am asking that's all of it, but also there's a chance we're going to have to draft this incredibly loaded draft with almost no footage of any of the guys actually playing, which I find fascinating.
I do think these guys are going to wind up playing.
Okay.
Right? I think AAU, college is going to figure it out, but they might start late.
Playing some weird Korean league.
Well, I think first of all, there's a lot of footage on 2021. There's a ton, right? Every year with the draft, it's amazing. But you're getting footage from these guys like freshman year, 8th grade. Like, you're getting early stuff.
There's a lot of footage.
And now there's services for that as well, right? But that draft, is that draft going to happen next year, or do they push it to 2022? Because, like you said, who knows about a college basketball season for sure? Like, as of right now, we assume they'll pull it off. High school seasons, a lot of them aren't going to happen. It's going to be AAU, EYBL that are going to be running that stuff if they can do it, right? Because remember, we're still not out of the first wave of this whole thing, and we're about to see shutdowns again. If AAU tournament in Nevada might be able to play, so the Vegas stuff because of how they're running their state, but they're not going to do it in California. They're not going to do it in Texas, probably. They might do them in Florida. So that stuff is going to be tough. I think it's going to be Yacht Club. Like, it's not going to be good. The talent is there, but I expect.
I'm offended. I know it's like the 6th time this graphic's come up, and I haven't
so good.
said anything yet.
It's so good. I do think. I think if the league is going to work in conjunction with the NCAA to some kind of weird partnership, then they could potentially pull this off. But I just don't see how colleges aren't even going to go back to class in a lot of states. So how are you going to play basketball?
This is a question for everyone. Should we just pack it up? Life?
No.
Done. What are we doing?
That's a defeatist attitude, Eric. Come on.
Anything that comes up, we're like, should we?
We're Americans. We power through.
Only the people that haven't had it.
Yeah, there you go. Just
pack
leave
it
that
in.
one on there, man. Leave that MJ on there. Dave, you were, as far as guests go, I would say you were probably a Floridian? Maybe a Grand
Oh, that's not bad. I've heard that's
good.
Oh.
The producer made the call.
No, that's right. No,
there you go.
But don't forget the producer's the one that says the Grandestino is actually not the best one.
Right.
That was a sneaky burn.
There we go. Got to go to Manscaped. Hit that lawnmower 3.0.
You heard the man. You heard the man.
Dave is a Grandestino guest. This is true. That's
I love that we got 2 days out of arguing about the Grandestino. And now I feel like
I could go on for a whole week, man.
Honestly,
I can go on for the rest of the week.
I did not know the name of any of the hotels except for Yacht Club until I came here tonight.
You mean during the game?
I have managed to avoid so much of this stuff that is unimportant. It's fantastic. I love it.
We did the entire memo last night. So
I'm sorry. This is very important information. This is very important.
Are there any bylaws that you're fudging on?
No, it was fun. Dave, you're a homie, man. You're always a
pleasure.
You're always a very welcome guest.
I love you guys.
I now know to avoid Texas barbecue.
Yeah, I just don't think it's very good.
Unreal. Get this guy out of here.
Everybody else, thanks so much for hanging with us, guys, and having fun, commenting. Tons of comments today. It was a lot of fun seeing all those come through. Somebody says that we need to do a pop culture steps, and it's me just falling down them or something like that.
Yeah, the fans ask you about the Avengers like 8 times in a row.
God, I would love that. I would absolutely love that. We'll put it together. Everybody else, we're going to be back again tomorrow. We'll see you then. Goodbye, everyone.